Check, check. 1, 2, check, check. Check, 1, 2.
Check, check, check. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I believe it is, but check. Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
welcome first, and then we'll sing. Do you want to do the welcome? Because then I'll just go down there for the sing again. Do you want to do the welcome?
Friends, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to B'nai Israel. We are so delighted to have with us the wonderful sound of Taft's Collegium. You've been here before, perhaps some of these students, certainly a number of the predecessors going back over a number of years. It is such a special treat to have you here tonight, and we truly are grateful. We begin on page 142 as we prepare to welcome Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem, page 142 in our prayer books.
And I just want to add that we chose very familiar melodies tonight. And that means that we want you all to join in and be part of this wonderful sound. So please join us.
Right, it shouldn't just be Bruce Pfeiffer and the Taft students singing. Let's all join in as well. Page 142. We now turn in our prayer books to page 120 for Hadlakat Hanerot, Kindling the Lights of Shabbat, and we invite forward Bobby and Babs to lead us this evening in candle lighting. Our oneg tonight, and as last week we celebrated a birthday for Bobby and an anniversary for Bobby and Babs. Page 120.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so
Please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Inspired by an ancient rabbi who would wear his best clothes on Sabbath Eve and say, "Come, O bride, O come, O bride." This hymn offers the analogy of Shabbat to a bride. Just as most brides and grooms arrive at their wedding ceremonies in fine garments and they enjoy a special reception, so too we dress for and rejoice within Shabbat. For the couple, the wedding is the focus of their day. For us, Shabbat is to be its own distinct time as we praise its entrance. L'chadodi begins on page 138. We'll be singing the first, the second, and then on 139, the 9th verses. now turn to page 144 for the Chatzi Kaddish, page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
ועלמד דברך יראה וימליך מלכותה.
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קריב.
במהרו,
אמן. יהי שמירה במבורך, לעולם ולעולמיה יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי
בקודשה בריחו
לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה במהרו amen.
For those who are able, we rise for the Baruchu, page 146.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
I read on the bottom of page 148. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Haravim. And the bottom of page 150. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai,
Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto
Please be seated. We turn to page 154. We join together with Linda in the chanting of the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלעדיך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם It was last Thursday morning. I was walking the halls with my two amigos up there in Watertown. We're walking the halls on our way to morning meeting. And I hear words in Hebrew. And I turn to my two amigos and I say, "Do you recognize those words?" And one says no, and the other says no. And I say, "That's mi chamocha." And I knew at that moment that my old friend Bruce Pfeiffer was pulling out all the stops as they were rehearsing on the way into the auditorium. For this Shabbat, they were doing it, and appropriately so. As the ancients sang poetry upon their liberation, so too we continue to celebrate joyously the blessing of freedom. For God wants people to be free. And as is said in Hebrew, mi chamocha, who can compare with the God of freedom? Mi chamocha will be found page 158. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Page 160. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. We now turn to page 162. Yismechu is the second Hebrew paragraph on the page.
And we welcome Rebecca Rosen to sing our verses for us. But please sing along with her, right? Doesn't let anybody go.
That's true.
Shabbat,
turn to page 164 in our prayer books. For those who are able, we rise for the tefillah. We'll be chanting the prayers beginning on page 164, continuing on the even-numbered pages, on the right-hand pages, to page 170. Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Uviagi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevii Gula Livnei V'neihem, Le'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham, V'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mitir Asurim, U'mekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Givurot, Umido Melach, Melech Melit U'mechaye, U'matzmiah Yeshua, V'nehemana Tali Hayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Michayei HaKol. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. Earlier this week, more than 400 rockets were fired from Gaza into Israel, leaving children and families from Tel Aviv and south scrambling into shelters as the civilian population was deliberately targeted. The Jewish Federation and our synagogue and its Israel Advocacy Committee raised our voices in solidarity, explaining that we stand with Israel and condemn those rocket attacks on innocent civilians that continued even after a ceasefire agreement was reached. Our thoughts and hearts remain with those facing the ongoing indiscriminate terror. Knowing peace to be as fragile as it is precious, we continue to pray for a time envisioned by the ancient Hebrew prophets, when neighbor shall invite neighbor under vine or fig tree, with none to make them afraid. Our prayer for peace will be found on page 179. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Mavarech et amo Yisrael bashalom. Silent prayer, page 180. We turn to page 364 for Sederkrata Torah for our Torah service this evening. Page 364, for those who are able, we rise. We invite forward Deb and David Augenbraun to open our ark. We sing Ki Mitzion.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Gadol Shemo, Gadlu Adonai iti, Umerom ema Shemo yaktav, Lecha Adonai hagidula, v'hagiburo, v'hatiferet, v'hanetzach, v'hakol, ki kol bashamayim uvaretz, ki kol bashamayim uvaretz, lecha Adonai hamalacha, v'amnita selikol erosh. Hey, Atzenu, Teretz Mazeret, Ramu, Ramu, Ramu. Hey, Atzenu, Eretz Mazeret, Ramu, Ramu, Ramu. Ramu, Atzenu, Eretz Mazeret, Ramu, Ramu, Ramu. Hey, Atzenu, Eretz Mazeret, Ramu, Ramu, Ramu. Hey, Atzenu, Eretz Mazeret, Ramu, Ramu, Ramu. Hey, Atzenu, Eretz Mazeret, Ramu, Ramu, Ramu. Ramu, 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 Ramu. Ramu, 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 Ramu. Hey, Atzenu, Eretz Mazeret, Ramu, Ramu, Ramu. Hey, Atzenu, Eretz Mazeret, Ramu, Ramu, Ramu. Ramu, 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 Ramu. Hey, Atzenu, Eretz Mazeret, Ramu. Hey, Atzenu, Eretz Mazeret, Ramu, Ramu, Ramu.
This week's Torah portion, Vayera, God appears, begins with a story about hospitality, the Jewish value of welcoming guests. We read that God appeared to Abraham, and soon 3 men arrive. Abraham and his wife Sarah extend to them warm and generous hospitality and courtesy. These guests are actually divine messengers who foretell that Sarah, already quite old, will give birth to a child. In the next scene, as I present tonight, God discloses great unhappiness with the wicked people of Sodom, and Abraham enters into a discussion with God over God's plans to destroy the city and all its inhabitants. As a consequence for the Sodomites' corruption and for their inhospitality, which is the direct contrast from the beginning of the portion. This week's Torah portion likewise discusses the birth of Abraham and Sarah's son, Isaac, Yitzchak, laughter. Abraham was 100, Sarah was 90. Isaac's circumcision at 8 days, and in conclusion, the Akedat Yitzchak, or the binding of Isaac. Tonight we focus on the bargaining and its larger message. This is chapter 18, verses 23 through 33 in the Torah commentaries. For those who have the Torah commentaries, it's pages 128 and 129. We invite forward Deborah Garber for the Aliyah this evening.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayigash Avraham, and Abraham approached to offer a legal request. Vayomer ha'af tispe tzadik im rasha. And he said, will you destroy the righteous along with the wicked? Ulam yesh chamashim tzadikim b'toch ha'ir. Perhaps there are 50 righteous people within the city. Ha'af tispe velo tisa lamakom laman ha'chamishim. Will you destroy and not spare the place on account of 50 hatzadikim, righteous people, asher b'kirba, who might be there within it? Chalila lacha me'asot kadavar hazeh. Far be it from you to do such a thing. Lahamit tzadik im rasha, to kill the righteous along with the wicked. V'haya chatzadik karasha, so that the righteous are like the wicked. Halila lach, far from you to do such a thing. Hashofet kol haaretz lo li'aseh mishpat, will the judge of all the earth not do justly? Vayomar Adonai im emsa bisdom chamishim sadakim. And Adonai and God said, if I see there in Sodom 50 righteous people, chamishim sadakim b'toch ha'ir, within the city, v'nasati l'chol hamakom, then I will spare the entire place, ba'avaram, for their sake. Vayan Avraham vayomar, and Abraham responded and said, Hine na hoalti ledaber el Adonai, yachzarun chamishin hatzadikim chamisha, hatashchit b'chamisha et kol ha'ir. Perhaps there is amongst the 50 righteous people 5 who are not there. Will you destroy on account of the 5 who are not in the city? Vayomer lo ashchit im emsa sham arba'im. And God said, I will not destroy the city if I find within it arba'im, 40 righteous people, the chamesh, 45 that is. Vayosef od ledaber elav, and he continued to speak to him. Vayomar ulai yimsaun sham arba'im. And he said, perhaps there is in the place 40. Vayomer lo e'eseh ba'avor ha'arba'im. And he said, I will not do for the sake of 40, if there are 40 there. Vayomer al na yichar la'adonai ba'adebra elav. And he said, please do not be angry with me, O Lord, that I am speaking to you. Ulai yimatsun, perhaps there are sham shloshim. Perhaps there are 30. Vayomer lo e'eseh im emsa sham shloshim. And God said, I will not do it if I find there 30. Vayomer hinei na hoalti ledaber el Adonai. And he said, I am still speaking to my Lord. Ula yimatzun sham esrim. Perhaps there will be found there 20. Vayomer lo ashchit ba'avor ha'esrim. And God said, I will not destroy if there are found there 20. Vayomer el na yichar la'adonai. And he said, please, God, don't be angry with me, la'adonai, va'adebra, and I speak ach hapayim. And if I speak one more time, ula yimatzun sham asara. Perhaps there will be found there 10. Vayomer lo ashchit ba'avor ha'asara. And God said, I will not destroy on account of the 10. Vayelech Adonai ka'asher ki la ledaber el Avraham. And God left after God had completed speaking to Abraham. Va'avraham shav l'komo. And Abraham returned to his place.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
I mean,
V'sota Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael. Al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. La 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 la
we remain standing as the Torah is now returned to the ark. Its He will be found at the bottom of page 370.
It's Chaim hi l'machzikim ba v'tom heha mehushar derakea nachei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Kadesh Kadesh Yameinu Kadesh Yameinu Kekedesh.
Please be seated. Good job. On behalf of dear ones within and beyond our congregational family, we articulate the hope that they might know comfort and support. I invite you now to raise your hand, and after I silently acknowledge you, speak the names of those persons not on our prayer list, for whom likewise we should pray this Shabbat.
Pam
So let me begin by asking our guests from Taft, have any of you had experience spending time over recent years with little ones, especially with young children? Anybody spend some time with, yeah? Okay, great. Maybe you were babysitting, hanging out with siblings or relatives. Anybody on this side of the room spend any time with young children as well? Okay, good. So, if so, you're likely to agree that one of the first sentences learned by a young child who also has siblings is this: it's not fair. The very concept of fairness and justice seems rooted in our DNA. The back and forth at today's impeachment hearing were, in essence, perspectives on what's fair. Wrestling with ideas of justice is also at the core of Judaism and this week's Torah portion. Fate of Sodom, a cruel, selfish, nativist, unwilling to show hospitality to any outsiders. That's what our tradition says Sodom was. And that's the real sin, their greed and bullying and intimidating behavior towards any would-be visitor. Abraham asks God, in discussing Sodom, a number of questions. Abraham is saying, is everyone there like that? And if not, is it moral to condemn the innocent with the guilty? Abraham then adds, a just God shouldn't do such a thing. Chalilah lecha. Abraham then begins a bargaining session, as we've heard, so that the presence of a mere 10 decent people is sufficient to save an entire city. That's the origin of our having a minyan, a quorum of 10 to recite certain prayers. For as I related during my Three Amigos remarks at Taft's morning meeting last Thursday, moral efforts, for them to be truly effective, they must be practiced or anchored within community. A close reading of the Abraham bargaining with God story presented this Shabbat reveals that the entire encounter wasn't about changing results. The wicked place was destroyed, just as God had foretold. But there's a lesson for Abraham and for Abraham's descendants. Indeed, that's the reason why the text explicitly quotes God as saying, as an introduction to the section which I read, I have chosen him, Abraham, so that he will direct his children and his household after him to keep the way of God by doing what is right and just. That is, by holding all accountable, even God, to justice. This is a critical insight. Abraham's determination to do what's just and right, Abraham speaking out for justice and fairness, is intended to be a model for all who would come after him. It also constitutes a big step forward ethically. For unlike the earlier biblical figure Noah, who when told about the upcoming calamity, when Noah is told about the flood, Noah raised not a single objection. Abraham wants to ensure that innocents, including his nephew Lot and his family, are spared. As we read, Abraham stops his bargaining at 10. He grasps that if in any project, a critical mass is needed to offset evil. God, in turn, welcomed this discussion so as to emphasize the importance of believing in justice. Standing on the shoulders of great figures going back to Abraham, the three great monotheistic traditions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, prize fairness as more than a naive or childish wish. We don't avow life's unfair, so just get used to it. Rather, even at the darkest of moments, we retain hope in justice and compassion. Hence the words composed by a Jewish prisoner of the Nazis during the Holocaust that were inscribed on a cellar wall in Cologne, Germany. Poignant words, momentarily to be sung by Collegium. I believe in the sun even when it is not shining, and I believe in love even when there's no one there, and I believe in God even when he is silent. In that testament of faith, as in Abraham's encounter with God over Sodom, amidst pain and destruction, we nonetheless conclude that cruel and unjust societies from Sodom to the Third Reich ultimately don't do well. May we, in each and every minion or each and every encounter, be it in our engagement with children or our interaction with adults and communities, find the inspiration to avow the Torah's instruction at every opportunity to keep the way of God by doing what is right and just. Ken Yehi Ratzon, be this God's will. invite forward Randy and Mitch Solon. We turn to page 586. For those who are able, before all the boys sit down, we're going to invite everybody to rise. Page 586 for the Elena.
Ladon hakol la te gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu kege havratzot velo samanu kemeshechot hadama shelo sam kelkenu kahem vego Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamalchim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please be seated. Page 591.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo
Page 598. We now call to mind our own beloved dead, and I ask that those in mourning or remembering the anniversary of the death of a loved one and who have trekked to the sanctuary during Shiva or Shloshim or for Yartzeit, should you be able, please rise when their name is mentioned. During Shiva, we remember Rebecca Nadler, dear friend of Leona and Alan Schwartz, Ray Scher, father of Sherry Paley, father-in-law of Andrew, grandfather of Ethan, Benjamin, and Jacob, Bernice Reed, widow of Ari, B. Gold, mother of Sandra Gold, mother-in-law of Paul Medina. This Shabbat, remember the Yartzeits, the anniversaries of the deaths of Herbert David Backer, Mark Brinker, Sophie Chase, Abe Deutsch, Rose Engel, Sarah Friedman, Lucille Giannette, Frida Gross, Bernard Hall, Joan Hoffman, Paula Jarmack, Sadie Carell, Carol Kest, Louis Mintz, Isabel O. Moravnik, Ralph Schoonmaker, Nathan Smith, Manuel Stillerman, Louis Traurig, Isidore Zakin, and Hilda N. Zetzer. A practice within our congregation is to further consider these people. If you're comfortable so doing, we now invite you to share with this minyan a brief reflection or reference about a dear one on our Kaddish list.
Together
Each Shabbat, we also mention 6 names amongst the 6 million murdered in the Holocaust, the Shoah. We now remember Nesha Shatskas, Naftula Orlowski, Aaron Gotzman, Bella Gonsman, Friedel Gonsman, and Bebi Odenberg. In remembrance and solidarity, and on behalf of those for whom there is no one but us to say Kaddish, we now invite all present to rise if you are able. Our Kaddish prayer, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach hirute v'amlich malchute, b'chaye echon v'yomei echon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mavarach le'olam alalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei d'kudesha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru. Amen. Zichronam levracha. May their memories be for blessing. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. We turn to page 625 for Adon Olam.
Shabbat Shalom.
What are you guys doing next week? Incidentally, Bruce, do you know what we call that version of Adonolam here, how we refer to it? In-house, this is called the Cab Callaway. Hi, Adonolam. Yeah. Okay.
Pleasure to be here.
Anytime you want.
Okay.
At this time during the service, we ask for good news, birthdays, anniversaries. It could be a great grade, a good game that you've won. So please, Taft, please join us in sharing some good news tonight. In addition to our regulars. Someone? The game that was won this week? Yes. Woohoo! All right. She said they beat Hotchkiss. Woo! Birthdays? Anyone have a birthday? Anniversary?
34 years, sure enough.
Oh, Mazel Tov. Wonderful. Yay, Keith. That's wonderful. Okay. Yes.
Our 23-year-old granddaughter, who's pre-med, just had her first scientific publication in America.
Wow. Wonderful. Mazel Tov. Barbara, that's exciting. Okay. Saturday, tomorrow morning, November 16th at 10 a.m. will be Torah study. On Sunday, November 17th at 9:30, we have our religious school. At 9:30, there will be an Introduction to Judaism class with Rabbi Eric. On Tuesday, November 19th at 11 a.m. is Rabbi's Adult Discussion Group. Friday, next Friday evening, November 22nd at 7:30 p.m., we will have Erev Shabbat services where Leah Wasserstein will be our service leader. The Oneg that evening will be sponsored by the Wasserstein family in honor of Leah becoming a bat mitzvah. Next week, next Sunday, is the coach bus trip to the Museum of Jewish Heritage in New York City. Please contact Abby Peklow for more information. This trip is sponsored by the Jewish Federation of Western Connecticut. It's the museum is wonderful, so I highly recommend it. The exhibit is really special. As we approach the holiday season, please remember that our Judaica shop carries all of your Hanukkah needs. Tonight's Oneg is sponsored by Bobby and Babs in honor of their 10th anniversary and Bobby's birthday. Wonderful. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
And November 24th, it somehow got left off the list. Femina Melodia, led by our Jan Gregory, and many of our, there are some of us in the midst who are singers in the wonderful group. We'll be performing here at 7 o'clock, Sunday, November 24th.
They're amazing.
It's really
They're wonderful.
Thank you.
We join together in Kiddush, which will be followed by Motzi,
Yeah,
and then please
please do.
join us in the social hall for our Oneg, for our reception right after. Kiddush will be found on page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher
ושבת קודשו באהבה ורצון הביא לנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תפילה למקראי קודש זכר יציאת מצרים כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המוציא לחם מן הארץ אמן. Oh, I've been dropping things tonight. You're welcome. Thank you.